Good afternoon. It is 2:58. I'm Joseph Bonanno live from Super Bowl Radio Row. In college football news today, two-time NFL Coach of the Year and Cal alum Ron Rivera is expected to take the general manager-like role with Cal football. An All-American for the Golden Bears, Rivera returns to Berkeley to work for head coach Justin Wilcox for a new era of Cal football. Tonight in college basketball, top 15 matchup in the SEC as number 4 Tennessee hosts number 15 Missouri at Thompson-Boling Arena. Tonight, Zakai Ziegler and Igor Milicic are expected to return. Both missed the last game versus Florida. Tip-off for that one is at 6 p.m. You can catch the Bowl Network call of the game starting at 5:30 right after 3HL. Also in SEC hoops tonight, Georgia hosts LSU at 8. Arkansas on the road looking for their third SEC win of the season against Texas at 8. For your foundation repair, one of your needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Balls. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome in, 3HL 104.5 The Zone. We are broadcasting live from Super Bowl Radio Row, live in New Orleans, thanks to our good friends at Rude, who is proud to partner locally with MJ Frick. For more information or to listen on demand, visit 1045thezone.com. Busy show, as you might imagine, coming at you. We arrived last night at about 10:05 p.m., checked into the hotel, got tons of sleep, woke up late.
From getting tons of sleep.
Moseyed on over to the convention center, and it's a circus in here. Some of that may or may not be true.
I think all of it was.
Brent Doherty with you on a beautiful day in New Orleans where it is moist. Don Davenport is here.
Hey! Why you gotta intro me with that word? That's bunk.
You describe what you feel outside of this building.
Yeah, it's a little sticky. But you know what? It's warm.
It is very warm.
And I love that. And sunny.
Ron Slay is here, y'all.
I'm in the building.
Yes, you are.
Let's roll, baby. Let's roll, baby.
Happy Super Bowl week.
What's happening, good people?
No question about it. Another sponsor, our thanks to our friends at Low T Center, and we'll tell you more about them. But if you're feeling tired, lacking motivation, drive, gaining weight, or noticing lots of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait, find out. LowTCenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare. Busy show. Let me go ahead and let you in on what's going on today. At least this is the schedule. Ian Rapoport at Rap Sheet will join us at 3:20. At 3:30, former Falcons general manager Thomas Dimitroff will join us. He actually interviewed for the Titans GM job.
And the Jets GM job.
And the Jets GM job. So lots to get into with those two guys in the 3:20 segment. 3:45, we're going to chat with Coach Mack. At 4 o'clock, Cynthia Freeland from the NFL Network. 4:20, Todd Ferman. 4:45, Lindsay Rhodes from Sumar Sports. 5 o'clock, Trey Wingo, whose dad started People Magazine.
That blows my mind every single time you say that.
Isn't that crazy?
Like, that's iconic. It's an iconic magazine, man.
How long ago was that?
A long time ago.
Right.
Well, I mean, Charlie's not 25, but...
I'll make sure that I don't bring that up to him when he joins us, okay, Mayor?
I love it. So Babs has been up to her thing today. She's got like this sports coat on, which I've never seen before. But evidently she looks like
I wasn't going to wear it, but then it's 2 degrees in this damn building.
Yeah, I think
they know how to drop it now.
Slay dog, I think it feels great. Don't you?
Yeah, I had to put, it's a little chill. I put my little jacket on.
Oh, okay.
But you got long sleeves.
Slay put a jacket on. This is where we are. So it is totally normal that I'm shivering.
So your jacket is kind of like a blazer that I've never seen before, and it's kind of shimmery, and you look like a publicist.
Yeah.
Publicist Babs. She was supposed to be my handler. She let somebody run up on me and almost had me do an interview.
I did. And I was like, this woman has no idea.
She got no clue.
She has no idea.
Like, can we get 5 minutes with you? Yeah, cool. I got over there. It was like,
who are you?
Hey, no, they said, man, remind me what team you played for before?
That's a good one.
I said, yeah. I said, no, I play basketball. Oh, yeah, man. Hey, you think you can swap some guests out with us? I thought y'all wanted to interview me. Hey, no, we'll be swapping guests out for. But, yeah.
You did leave him on that one.
Yeah, Babsy
I
never
did.
leaves.
I
And
totally
laughing
left you.
about it.
Yeah, like that was funny.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So, well, okay. So we were sitting here by our table. Set the room, Mayor.
This is a massive space in the
Massive.
New Orleans Convention Center, and the middle section of the space is filled with booths and pop-ups telling you what radio station it is, and it's primarily radio stations in the middle. And then on the outside, you got like a big DraftKings set over here. Like, I mean, these massive sets.
Big Yahoo set.
Yep.
You got FanDuel on the side. You got ESPN on the opposite
CBS
side.
Sports.
Sirius down there.
Yep.
Yeah. So all of that. Okay. So we're at a table somewhat on the edge. Well, Warren Moon was walking around.
Yeah.
And
the originator of the piss missile.
and so somebody from one of the other like inner radio stations comes over and he's like, "Hey, you're Warren's publicist. You know, can we get him?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm not his. I'm not his publicist."
This time they tried to get you as an handler. Okay.
Yes, and so I just I laughed and turned back to tell you guys about it because we had just talked about it, and he goes, "Okay, you're messing with me. You really are, aren't you?" Like he was completely.
Yeah.
He thought that I was joking with him. I go, "Dude, I do a radio show and it's right there. Like I am not his publicist. I'm not blowing you off."
So then she sits down for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. We're all talking. Then out of nowhere, she gets up and she asks the table behind us, 102.5 The Bone from, I don't know where they are.
Tampa.
Oh, Tampa. And they've got this massive set with all of these signage elements and stuff. And there's really no room with all of that between that stuff and like a guest sitting down at our table.
Yeah.
And so we were just talking. And Babs was done with our conversation, like got up and went over there and was like, "Can I move this, please?"
Dude.
And two of their guys were looking at you like you were crazy. And then one of the guys was like, "Yeah, sure."
That's Babsy.
Babs getting things done.
One of them said no at first, and I was about to pounce.
We ran into Chris Johnson
but
earlier.
He was just messing with me.
CJ's going to hop on the show tomorrow. But we ran into him earlier, and he told Slay congrats on the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame thing. And
J2K.
And he's in the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame.
Yes, he is. Running real fast.
When did he go in? Last year or the year before?
Last year. Yep.
CJ2K.
Cool little class.
Walk past Pac-Man Jones.
Nation is in the building. Yeah, doing a couple of interviews today. I think he said he got 2 more. He's going to get out of here, but he'll be here all week.
Where did Nation begin?
What, the name?
The nickname, yeah.
Defending part of the
cover
nation.
The entire nation.
Yeah.
But did he call himself that?
No, we gave him that nickname.
I can't believe you did say lady on that one.
We gave him
Did
that
you
nickname.
give him that?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
Will from the Ville and them gave him that nickname.
Okay.
Yeah. So he do pretty good with nicknames, too.
Nation.
Will from the Ville does?
Yep.
That's funny.
I like that.
But that's it. Yeah, he can defend his own nation right there.
Who else?
Out down the island.
Who else did we see? We saw Myles Garrett walk through with the biggest entourage today belonged to Justin Jefferson.
That's what I was going to say, Justin Jefferson.
But Myles Garrett had a big one.
The second
Did he? I missed that. I was laying
Myles
down.
Garrett, yeah.
You were lying down.
Yeah.
It's tough for you to find a place to lie down.
was a good
Zeph
little
and I
spot.
stalked him for a little bit.
Couldn't get close?
Couldn't get close enough with my my phone microphone to ask him what he thought about a Titans trade.
Ah.
Well, if you guys would have gotten that done, that would have gone everywhere. Just one little soundbite from Myles Garrett about the Titans would have gone everywhere.
He was not answering trade questions.
Yeah, I could imagine. I'm trying to think. We saw somebody else. Cool.
You guys crack me up. So Chris Johnson coming on tomorrow. Greg Cosell coming on tomorrow. Marcus Allen coming on tomorrow.
That right there.
You like that, Kirby?
Ian Rapoport coming on next.
It won't be the first time we've had Marcus, but yes, that would be
It'll be the first time I've had him on.
Well,
I can't wait to talk with him.
he's good.
Rap sheet at 3:20 coming up next, and Thomas Dimitroff in the next segment. So stay tuned as we broadcast live from Radio Row in New Orleans. This is 3HO.
All right, what could you do with an extra $75,000 right now? How about a couple $100,000? Ooh, I could do a lot with, doing a new kitchen or something. Maybe that's you. If you own a home, you can get that money out in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Loan Pronto, the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold, hard cash. Pay off credit cards, start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access cash from your home. Virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, and often no appraisal. The average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. This is your money, so use it. One client got $150K out, paid off credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, and then on top of it, cut their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day. Act now. No hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com is where you can start the process. 615-499-5780. Get the money you need for anything. LoanPronto.com. Loan Pronto, equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
3HL 104.5 The Zone. Brent Doherty, Don Davenport, Ron Slay. Ian Rapoport at the table now, National Insider for NFL Network and NFL.com. Ian, what's up? How are you, man?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
So at this point during Super Bowl week, like how many text messages do you get during a day?
You know, it's Super Bowl week is different because like my crazy time, it's like people are like, this is your Super Bowl, and it is literally the Super Bowl. But for me, it's really like coaching search, which is like 4 weeks, which is sort of just wrapping up.
Yeah.
And then, you know, free agency is crazy. Franchise tag stuff is crazy. Before the draft is crazy. This is an interesting, weird news time. And like a lot of the stuff is kind of wrapped up. I mean, there's like little stories here and there, but a lot of the stuff is wrapped up. So it's more like logistics of like getting from place to place, you know, as opposed to like crazy news.
So what do you think about what the Titans have done with their front office with Chad Brinker now solidly having hand there, and then Mike Borgonzi, Dave Ziegler, Reggie McKenzie, a couple of former GMs to help?
Yeah, I mean,
what do you think?
You know, first of all, really, really good front office, really good personnel minds. You know, I think Chad is different from a lot of them. He's not the GM, I think president of football operations is the title, but you know, a lot of really successful teams have that top guy, business-minded, analytics-minded, minds the money. You know, does he scout the players? Like, no, but he's in charge of all of it. And I think, you know, there's a lot of really good teams who have that structure. The Rams do, the Lions do, several of them.
The Chiefs do.
You know, Chiefs do for sure. And, you know, I think very, very highly of Chad Brinker, and I think people around the league do as well. And, you know, the kind of work he's had to do, just building out that personnel department, analytics department, technology, use of AI, health and nutrition, all that stuff. You know, that has, I think he'll do a really nice job. I personally like Rand Carthon a lot. He is a great guy. I've known him for 15 years. I understand the business. That sucked to hear. It just sucked. I was, you know, he's in a good place now, but I was, you know, kind of sad for him.
Were you surprised that the team made that move?
No. You know, now maybe it was, you know, might it have been a year kind of before I thought maybe, but like being a GM is not for everyone. I think he could be a successful GM. I really do. But I think, you know, it definitely seemed like what they were looking for, what the organization wanted, was someone who was not Rand. And, you know, again, like that sucked to see, but considering the people they hired, the quality of the people and the professionals they hired, like I think the Tennessee Titans are in a really good place. You know, like Mike Borgonzi is among the most respected personnel minds in the NFL. He happens to be a great guy, not that that matters, but he really, really is, and helped build the Chiefs. I mean, with creativity, with drafting well, with signing not splashy free agents, but really smart free agents. I mean, you're going to look on the field Sunday, and you're going to be like Juju Smith-Schuster, Kareem Hunt, DeAndre Hopkins, Samaje Perine, all veterans added during the season for no money who are key contributors. That's how you be a professional. That's how you be a personnel chief. So, and he works hand in hand with Brett Veach. I think he's going to do a great job. And then, you know, Reggie McKenzie's one of my favorites. He's, you know, really smart scout, schooled well, smart scout. And Dave Ziegler, I think, you know, in a different team would have been a really, really good GM. The Raiders are a little bit of a different story, but, you know, I would have a hard time. I would have a hard time finding a more qualified personnel staff around the league than what the Titans have.
So, that being said, what is kind of the, I guess, the overall thought? Because we're in a bubble, right? We're in Nashville, but the overall thought of the Titans franchise and where they are in ownership and how it's all going. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you looking at these hires and the people that wanted to come and interview for these jobs.
Oh, this is a great job. This was great. Whatever that happens, whatever they end up doing, you know, they had the number one pick, which is a lottery ticket no matter what choice they make. Building a stadium. Everybody loves Nashville. I love Nashville. It was a place that a lot of people wanted to be. Yeah. And, I don't know the answer to this, and I will probably never know. But I know Mike Borgonzi was really highly thought of with the Jets. And the Titans move smart and fast, And I don't know what would have happened if he had to make a choice. He didn't make a choice because the Titans offered him a job and he took it. But this is so desirable. It would have been interesting to see. You know, the organization with Amy Adams Strunk, I mean, it seems to be in a good place. And again, like, I wasn't surprised by the firing of Rand, but, it was maybe a little earlier than but they recognized where they are. They have the number 1 pick. They have the opportunity to take a next step as an organization. These critical decisions will go a long way in determining where the next 10 years are. So if you didn't think Rand Carthon was the guy, you should definitely move on and find people you feel are better. And whether they're right or wrong, like, history will tell.
Ian Rapoport with us, national insider for NFL Network and NFL.com.
And I need to know, man, at what point for yourself do you turn off your phone and unplug from everyone?
Turn off my phone.
Do you ever get to unplug? like for your sanity, do you say,
like
okay,
when you hold the button down and then it goes off? Is that what you mean?
Or even silent? Do you get to go on silent?
Silent. I mean, I've been a silent guy for a while, unless you're waiting for big news. And if you're waiting for big news and you just can't miss it, what you do is you turn the ringer on, you go in the contact where you think you might be getting the scoop from, and you change the text tone so it's like or like some sort of like recognizable text tone, so you know it. Oh, like, here's the text I've been waiting for. That's how you kind of do it. I don't turn my phone off.
Yeah.
The reason is it's too stressful. My life is stressful enough. And the thought of my phone, like when they say, like, we're taking off, everyone put your phone in airplane mode. I'm like, sure, guys. Yeah.
We just had that conversation last night. We just had that
airplane mode, no problem. No, it's too stressful.
Right away.
What I like to be able to do is just do this. All right, I know what it is.
Cool.
I got it. We're good. Like, yeah.
Man, like, that's got to be a whole different world. I can't even imagine that we're living in. Like, waiting on something.
It's crazy, but it's also kind of fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes you win.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get to drop some big news, like knowing that the Myles Garrett news was coming this week, and getting to break that and sort of hit send first. Those are the fun ones.
Titans got a chance in that?
Everybody's got a chance in that. Now, I don't know if the Titans are the kind of team that would be one player away.
Right.
Like, and that's the problem is, like,
they are not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We all know.
You're being nice. Yeah. It's okay. We talk about it a lot.
And I think, honestly, like, that's going to be, I think, really important for Mike Borgonzi and Dave Ziegler and Chad Brinker to be like, take an honest look. Where are we?
Right.
Where are we? Are we 2 years away? Are we 1 year away? Are we a quarterback away? Like, where are we? And these are, self-scouting is kind of the most important thing for a GM to understand, like, where are you and what do you actually need?
Yeah.
Who do you think goes number 1 overall?
I think it'll be a quarterback. I don't know enough to answer that question. I mean, initial would be like maybe Cam Ward, but like the problem is it's like quarterbacks are impossible. They really are impossible. I mean, we analyzed the last 2 years, number 1 versus number 2, and universally around the NFL, everyone knew that Bryce Young should have gone before C.J. Stroud and that Caleb Williams should have gone before Jaden Daniels. And it looks like both of those are wrong. We'll see.
Yeah.
But it looks like on its face, after a couple years, both of those are wrong.
Yeah.
So what do we know? Obviously, we know literally nothing.
Nothing.
Ian Rapoport.
Are the Titans going to pick first? Are they actually going to pick first?
I don't know.
That's the real question.
I don't know. But that's it.
Might be a quarterback that goes first, but is it the Titans?
Right, and I don't know. And
notice
again,
how I asked that question.
And that's a really interesting question, because it's like, and really, here's the only thing it depends on. It's like, if it's the Titans picking 1 and it's a quarterback, is this the franchise quarterback that is a generational talent and you cannot pass on him no matter what happens? That's it. That's the question. Yeah. And if the answer is, then should probably look around. If the answer is, I got to take this guy, then you're done. Then game over, and if he's Jaden Daniels, you're good for 15 years. But this is some high-stakes decisions.
Oh, yes.
It'll be great.
Right, like if they decide Shedeur Sanders no matter what, it's kind of like drafting.
Then we're done. But that's why, it's funny because, like, I don't know locally what the opinion of the Will Levis draft pick is. It's sometimes hard for me to understand what fans sort of think.
They're out on Will Levis.
That's not the question.
Completely.
That's not the question.
Okay.
The question is, was it a good draft pick?
Okay.
And I would argue it was a really good draft pick. Second rounder,
Right.
which, you hope is a starter, but really a toss-up, 45%, I think, or something like that. If it's a quarterback of the future, it's a lottery ticket. You're done. You're great. If it's not, you didn't spend a lot of money, and
That's
the draft capital is okay. So I even though it doesn't seem like he's going to be their franchise guy, I liked the pick a lot, which I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But, it's all pick versus the value of not making that select. So,
you won
and you can move on now, and it's sort of like, okay, so we lost the second rounder.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like you didn't win the grand prize on the lottery ticket, but
Right.
you won,
$5
or a ticket.
Or you just didn't lose all your money.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like you paid for a $10 lottery ticket instead of all of your money.
Yeah. There you go.
Ian Rapoport, NFL Network, NFL.com. I know you're busy, man. Thanks for sitting down with us. Appreciate
that.
you. And if you read his X header, you'll learn that he made 7 cameos in draft day.
I did.
Really?
How cool was that experience?
7.
Well, now, just to be clear, I wasn't exactly in the script. So I was at Radio City Music Hall where the old draft used to be.
Yeah.
And if you squint, you can see me and Daniel Jeremiah in the background of 7 shots.
So you're in there. But you ain't in there. Yeah.
Well, I am on screen. You can see me on the screen, which is the most important part. 7 great cameos.
Great to see you, man. Appreciate your time.
Thank you guys for having me.
Great
Thanks,
job.
Rapshi.
Man, Rapshi, one of the best for sure. Definitely follow on X. Appreciate you, man. How about that? The quote from Rap Sheet that I wrote down was, I'd have a hard time finding a better front office in the league than what the Titans have put together.
It's pretty darn
Dude.
good.
He also said the Titans are in a good place.
So, but when we started to see them put this together, we was saying, right there on the surface, I understand what took place. And as far as the guidance that we would have as fans or people analyzing it, it was kind of shaky, but when you start putting these pieces together, it was like, you know what? This looks good. This looks like NFL ready to me.
And people want to go there.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
That tells
key.
you everything you need to
That
know
was big.
about the franchise, too, is that people want to go there.
That was big. And this is a still coveted job in the NFL.
And I think it's significant in that, Ian Rapoport made the point that he was sad to hear the news about Rand Carthon going, but that he still thinks the Titans are in a great position in terms of what they put together in the front office. And we can ask this guy about it. A brilliant football mind, Thomas Dimitroff, former Atlanta Falcons general manager. Hey, man, how are you?
How's everyone doing?
Good to see you.
I was telling them the other day, we had you on a couple of years ago, and I said, remember the spectacular hair? And Beth was like, you're crazy.
Someone said something the other day.
I'm sorry, I didn't, but it's
funny.
spectacular.
No, I ran into someone. They're like, man, you're like the Silver Fox now. I'm like, I thought I was only partially great. They're like, no, dude, you're
there.
You're beyond.
They call that experience.
That's right. I guess.
Wisdom.
So, speaking of experience, what was your experience like interviewing for the general manager job with the Titans with Chad Brinker and those guys?
Look, let me just say, and I really like Chad. I had an opportunity to talk to him around the business of the interview, and we really hit it off on a lot of levels. I think what they've done there right now, just if I may,
yes, sir.
I was concerned about there being a whole bunch of younger guys interviewing, and I asked him point blank, and he said he truly wanted to interview, and he interviewed Reggie McKenzie as well, two experienced guys amongst a lot of the first-time guys, and it was a very professional and very well thought out, and Chad is a very smart guy, and he's a growing star. I am telling you, in the league, I do believe that, and most important for me is he's bringing in a guy like Mike Borgonzi, and I have a great deal of respect for Mike. And then you brought in Mike also brought in, and Chad brought in,
Dave
Ziegler. Excuse me, Dave Ziegler and Reggie. That team of teams for them right now feels really right. And then they go in together, led by Chad in that situation. Now, I like Rand a lot, don't get me wrong. Look, there's so many things. This is not about helping everyone out here. I think what they're doing there is professional, and it's heading in the right direction now. And it's just I've had 2 guys there, and both Rand and John Robinson, that I really like. Why this is happening, I don't know that, of course. It'll be fun to watch how it evolves.
So when you stepped into that interview, what, and if there's anything you don't want to share, whatever, just tell me.
Sure, I got it.
But what was your pitch to kind of fix where this franchise is right now?
Yeah, look, I mean, when you go into something like that as a general manager candidate, you talk about everything. You know that you're doing a lot of video work, right? And of course, it starts with the quarterback, and then what you would do and how you approach that. As a number one pick, I was salivating, thinking if I had a chance to be a part of a number one pick, what a great opportunity. Highest I've ever gone was Matt Ryan at 3, which I thought, humbly, I thought that was a good, we worked out
That
well.
one worked out.
Hall of Famer.
I think that worked out well.
League MVP.
And so I think about the quarterback situation, like you guys, the Titans are in that spot with the quarterback situations that's complicated, right? And the Will Levis thing obviously is one that came up in the conversation, and then it was the right side of the line, and then it was something where I think the team, in my humble opinion, continues to need. I'm a huge believer in tight ends, and I'm a huge believer not just tight ends that are, you have a Y and you have an F and whatever. My belief is you get legitimate bona fide tight ends, especially for young guys, so that they can be high percentage shots. Matt Ryan, we brought in after year 2. You remember we traded for Tony Gonzalez. It was the biggest part of 5 years of development for Matt. We had Julio Jones, we had Roddy White, of course, and your guy can throw it down the field. We need the adeptness underneath, right? Get it off quicker before these guys are in his face. So I started thinking about that offense and what you need to do. I keep saying you. Am I supposed to say you? Are you guys?
You can.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
You
us.
can, yeah.
It's us.
It's us.
I mean, it's Tides Radio.
Yeah.
so-
We're
Yeah, I know. I just sometimes think
I'm a fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go.
Yeah. So last thing, I come in and I look at that and I believe that offense. There's an ability to grow there, of course. And look, you have one of the best O-line coaches in the history of the world. I know that's hyperbole or whatever that is, but he is. He's fantastic.
No. We call him offensive line Jesus.
Yeah, OLJ.
Yes.
It's OLJ for
Okay.
us.
Yeah. And I say
There's
it's
a
funny.
story behind that, though.
Okay. Well,
because I basically, right when they hired him, we were talking about the offensive line, and I was like, I don't care who he is or whatever. It's not like he's Jesus. He's not going to be able to do anything with this
We were like,
offensive
well-
line. And they were like, no, he's offensive line Jesus.
So we
But,
call him OLJ.
So he's OLJ.
And his offensive lineman, we've told, and they signed off on that too.
Yes,
so
yes.
You're right.
But it's still a mess up front.
Yeah, well, yeah. Again,
Mess.
I think there's a lot of work to be done there, and I get that. And then obviously that affects your run game, and then things just keep piling on that way. So my point is, you pay that offensive line coach whatever you need to do to get the best offensive line coach. In my opinion, quite honestly, as a position coach, is so important.
Now, how difficult is it in today's game to put together a roster that has holes in it, to come and fill a roster like what the Titans have?
Well, I think where they're picking, of course, is an important thing. I mean,
Right.
You're at the top end of every round. This is a vital year to fill some of those holes that you have. That I didn't even get into defense, but mentioning the offense there,
Right.
there are areas there that you can fill. And I'm a huge believer in scenarios, right? And who the strengths are in the draft. This is a very strong tight end class. This is a very good pass rush class. Okay, I'm not going in free agency there. I'm going to some of the areas that are a little less or a little weaker and think about it. Albeit, and don't even start talking to me about quarterbacks. Like this is a different quarterback class.
Yeah.
Not that Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward aren't good and worthy of a top 5 pick. Are they worthy of 1 and 2? Don't know. Are they similar or congruent in skills to Jaden Daniels? I mean,
Sure.
I say that humbly and respectfully to them. I don't believe so. I think
No.
Jaden was in a different category that way. It will be fun to watch how this plays out, because if you're sitting at the number 1 pick overall, personally, I think you can move back. And my nickname was Trader Thomas. I was a move forward guy. I was never a back guy.
Yeah.
That's why I was excited about it, because you could go to 8 to 12, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and get a really good offensive lineman and more each round. And you could do some really good booty building,
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
which I think could be cool.
Okay, so then what do you do at quarterback?
I know at that point you have to decide, and they know more. I mean, there are nuances to Will Levis. Do you continue to build that offensive line, build that run game, take the damn pressure off the guy, and let him have one more year to show? You guys don't want to hear that. But do you? Maybe
The
you
city might explode.
Well, the city might explain.
No, but I think this is a valid discussion.
It
because,
is a valid discussion,
Will
but
Levis,
the fan base will lose it.
this will be the first time Will Levis has had the same offense 2 years in a row since he was at Penn State.
Yeah, no, it's look. I mean, I know there's a lot going on there. I mean, I've had people tell me that they were talking with, and I don't know if they were talking with Will. They're like, look, this needs to be an incredibly focused time. I get your point, right? Fan bases get excited about it. I think we do away with the mayonnaise splits or whatever we call it. We don't. We just focus on the game, and we focus on finding out if that truly is the person to be. He was picked. What number was it in the second round? Do you
Right
remember?
at the beginning of the second
Right,
round.
right at the beginning of the second. Yeah.
They traded up to get him.
They traded up.
Was
to
it
get him.
34, I think?
33. 33.
33.
Look,
There you go.
I mean, during that time, you could go out and think about the free agency move, and then have legitimate competition there. That means you're going to be spending a lot. I mean, if you pull the number one free agent in the quarterback class, and you guys know who it is, how long does he have? And did he tail off at the end of the season? Is he worthy of $40-something million? Think about that.
That's a lot of money.
This is
especially when you have too many holes
but
elsewhere.
Right. And here's what I'd say. You get 32 general managers around here right now raising their hand. When you pick because of need, you make mistakes. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Everyone would say, look, I made all of my mistakes or most of my mistakes on over push of a need, of a pass rusher, of a corner, of a quarterback. And this is not one to come in, okay, you have to be incredibly creative. If you did draft one of those guys in the first 2 picks, who do you surround them with, and how do you go in there? We did it with Matt Ryan, not to keep going back to old school Matt Ryan, but what we did with Matt Ryan, we probably passed him 20-something times. Like, we were so mindful, and we had Michael Turner as a running back. And so we were able to really let Matt grow incrementally. I don't feel like that's the case. I don't feel like you guys again, I don't feel like the team has really let him grow like that. I don't know. Maybe I missed something.
Well, and you also had a first-time play caller in Cali, a first-time head coach and play caller, all in the same, and so I felt like kind of offensively, I mean, at the bare bottom of it, the offensive line was a disaster. Yeah. But, I think you also had Cali, who was getting his feet wet and finding his rhythm and all of that, and maybe not trusting his quarterback or himself calling plays for that quarterback. So
I was just going to say the most issue that I had, or the biggest issue I had, just the last thing on the assessment of Will is like, where is he? I was around a quarterback in Tom Brady when I was in New England, and then in Matt Ryan for 13 years, whatever it was, where they had such an innate ability to understand and feel in the pocket.
Yeah.
Will can move. He's got athletic, all that stuff, splits, Mayo commercials, all that stuff I get, but I was concerned about that feel, that there's an innate feel with quarterbacks that I don't know if you can change that. If you're right here and you're letting this happen, and you're not feeling that, that's a tough thing to coach in my mind.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't, but it's a tough thing. If you're not that during it all, you can't. I don't know.
And to your point about Thomas Dimitroff with us, to your point about the offensive line, if you're a quarterback, psychologically, you're going under center, and you're about to go in a car wreck in 3 seconds, whether you get the ball out or not.
So true.
So I wonder how damaging that is to your point about being able to develop that movement in the pocket.
Well, it was that, and then it was the ability. Again, he has the athleticism, but at times I'm like, you're just running right into something. It felt like this guy should be able to do this. And I'm like, there's a space there. Just take it another step out to the right, and it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And so I'm, again, not being around there. If you're in the building, sometimes you're like, you realize what's going on there. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Real quick, how do you evaluate, from a general manager perspective, Travis Hunter? Because we just haven't seen that since maybe Dion.
You haven't seen it since Dion. I mean, obviously an incredible athlete and the ability to play receiver and both, like all of that. How do I evaluate it? I mean, you have to come together as a staff and know where your hole is and where you want to play him. I think he can start at both, of course. I think he's a special receiver. I think his ability to do certain things is just, synonymous with some of the stuff that we had seen with Julio and some of those really special athletes like that have the ability to move and do all the things they're doing. It's fun to watch, and he's an upbeat guy, and he's one of those guys that's going to be a really good competitor. So all of that said, I can't make that choice. Someone was asking me, would you play him both ways early out the gate? I think situationally you do. Maybe it comes down to, and I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth. You play him at corner and you situation him on.
That's what makes the most sense,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And it's probably the easiest from a learning standpoint, and
I think you're right.
That's
right.
I get that. So I do have a question, because you also interviewed for the Jets GM job. We've had conversations from our listeners, obviously, about the quarterback situation and what they're going to do here. But Aaron Rodgers, can he still play?
So I went in there being really dialed in on that. He can still play, and I know, and I believe he needs to go somewhere else. I think he can play 2 more years. This is my thought.
Yeah.
I think when you watch him off-camera throws, misdirected, yes, he wasn't throwing down the field a lot, but his ability to find what – I was just projecting this to Will Levis and some of the young rookie quarterbacks. Like, he was going to hit things that other people coming in, even as good as some of these quarterbacks are, that will never be able to do what he's doing right now. So my biggest point was it's time to move on to another city for another couple years if he wants to play more. And that, who knows what the Jet fan base thinks about that.
Yeah.
Kind of all over the place, I'm sure.
So as Titans GM, you could have brought him in here.
Well, that's a very good point on some of these other thoughts. I mean, who else out there? I mean, who else?
Kirk Cousins?
Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
What do you think about Daniel Jones?
Okay,
you
you
just
talk
gave
about
me the look on
I
Kirk.
see.
No, you guys talk about both of those guys.
Yes.
And I would say, I would definitely say, again, respectfully to those guys, I would rather in that situation, if we're an organization that needs, I would rather have Aaron Rodgers in there coming in for a couple years, maybe working with a young guy as well, but still winning the job, because I'm sure he would win the job out the gate.
Yeah.
That's my take, if he's healthy.
Yeah. Man, fascinating conversation. Thank you for sitting down, Thomas.
Really good
Appreciate
stuff,
that.
yes.
Appreciate you.
All right, good luck,
Thanks,
man.
guys.
Thomas Dimitroff, former Atlanta Falcons GM, and spectacular hair. More 3HL when we come back. Coach Dave McGinnis joins us next on 104.5 The Zone. Someone asked the other day, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? It's way more than you would think. You actually could go home and count how many connected devices you own. It's more than a dozen probably, all to keep you connected to the good stuff. Your streaming, your gaming, your interneting, you name it. Xfinity knows that the number of devices we have connected to our internet is growing by the year. That's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices. Hundreds, for real. Now through March 23rd, get 150 megabit Xfinity Internet for $35 a month for 1 year with no annual contract. Plus, get free Wi-Fi equipment included. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees are extra. After the promotion, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. 3HL 104.5 The Zone. Man, if you missed Thomas Dimitroff, go back and listen or watch that. Man, that dude was open and very detailed in all of the options that are presented to the Titans currently. Coach Mack joins us now on 3HL as we broadcast live from Radio Row in advance of the Super Bowl. Which number is this? 59? LIX. Super Bowl LIX, that says.
Licks.
Coach Mack joins us now. Coach, what's up? How are you?
Hey, guys. And I know you guys are busy. I've been through that before down there on at Super Bowls on Radio Row, so I know we've got shorter segments, and you guys are going through a car wash, and I know you're doing a hell of a job, so whatever you need, let's go.
Thanks, Coach Mack.
Coach, how busy are you? Like, is your phone ringing this week? People want to know information about how to deal with all this stuff, and how do you consume the Super Bowl?
Yes. Well, I mean, absolutely. I mean, two things, Brent. Clearly, the Senior Bowl, because I've been down there so many times, and then they know what I do, around the league as far as talking to people about the upcoming draft. That's number one. And then of course the other things going on, because there's an opening for a play person on the Titans radio. And
oh yeah.
I know nothing about that, but I can talk about what's going on with the draft. I can also talk about. They ask me a lot about the new front office setup. I can answer quite a bit about that.
Yeah.
So is my phone ringing? It hasn't stopped since the end of the season.
Let me go ahead and share something that Ian Rapoport, who has covered the NFL on a detailed basis for a long time, broken tons of stories about what he had to say when we asked him about what the Titans have done with their front office. He said, quote, "I'd have a hard time finding a better front office in the league than what the Titans have put together."
Well, you know what, and I agree with that because, look, this league is about being able to get better, and it's a bottom line league. And seeing the experience that they put together, I mean, I know Reggie McKenzie, and I know what Chad Brinker is, and Mike Morganzi brings a lot into this. The front office that they're starting to put together, what they've done is they've collected some dudes with some real experience in a lot of different areas that are able to cover all the bases because, guys, this is a huge talent acquisition period, starting up for the Titans. Huge talent acquisition period. And they're loading up with people that, look, what can't you manufacture in this league, Don? Experience, right? They've done a good job of surrounding that front office with experience.
Coach Mack, what do you think about Aaron Rodgers?
I think Aaron Rodgers can still play. I mean, I don't know. Look, I'm not dialed into the Jets, but I mean, just looking at it from afar, it started off with a lot of promise. Clearly, he gets hurt, and then it really kind of fizzled for him out there. I think he can still play. I mean, to me, the guy has always been, and you got to remember, when he first came in, he sat, for a few years. He sat for a few years, behind a Hall of Famer, and then when he took over, I mean, he's been a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he's got some innate abilities that you just don't have. You talk about experience. It's hard to manufacture experience at any position in this league, but at quarterback, now, of course, there's some things you'd have to work through with him. I don't know him personally, but I just have, I've competed against him. I put a defense out there against him, and I know that when he's on, he's a problem.
Coach Mack with us on 3HL.
Might be changing our draft plans around here.
Well, if we do, Mac, do you see us filling holes with a guy like Aaron Rodgers and going out there and ready to compete? Where do you see the Titans moving if that was the case?
No, I can't speak to that now because look, and I haven't even looked at quarterbacks yet in this draft other than what's at the Senior Bowl for this reason. You cannot vet a quarterback without talking to him in person. You cannot vet a quarterback and hope to really dig on one until you met him in person. When I was involved actively in vetting players and involved actively in making draft picks and writing reports and giving opinions that mattered in a draft room, the quarterbacks always take more time than anybody else because you guys know this, our listeners know this, it's critical. It is critical. And so you cannot vet those guys whether they are already in the league, whether they're free agents, or whether they're brand new coming out. You cannot do yourself justice. I would not be doing you guys justice or our listeners until I can meet these guys and talk to them. Had a little bit of chance down there at the Senior Bowl, just some real quick going through with some of those guys. But it takes time to vet a quarterback, and you got to get it right.
Gotcha.
That's the thing, get it right, right? Like, so despite the fact that you need a quarterback, that doesn't necessarily mean that you take one because, right, like maybe these two guys you don't fall in love with. You don't think is that generational player, right? So that's when other scenarios back up. But we've seen it in the league, man, when teams just need a quarterback, there they go. And you say it all the time. There are two different drafts, the draft and the quarterback draft.
Well, it's 100% right, Brent, and I think it's very, very important to understand that. And then that goes back to what we first started talking about with the years of experience now that you've got with the leadership in this front office. I mean, they've all of them, if you go through all of their resumes, they've been through vetting quarterbacks. They've been through vetting guys that at all different stages. So that's extremely important. And, I mean, I believe and I really know that they'll have a thorough process going through this because this is starting off a very valuable and critical talent acquisition period for the Titans.
Coach Mack, thank you for being open to move as we try to fit together the schedule down here. Really appreciate you being flexible and always appreciate your analysis and expertise.
Guys, I appreciate you. I know what you're going through down there, and I know you're crushing it, so keep going.
All right.
Appreciate it, Coach Mack.
Coach
There
Mack.
is Coach Mack, presented by Two Rivers Ford. When we come back, Cynthia Freeland with NFL Network. She is a numbers-driven person. So one of the questions I wrote down last night when I was getting ready for this, what's the difference between statistics and analytics? So this is going to be inside the numbers
I might
type
not even
thing.
understand
Right?
the answer that's going to come out of that one.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. All right, Cynthia Freeland next as we continue to broadcast live from Radio Row in New Orleans, 3HL 104.5 this home.
You need new windows and doors. You need replacement windows and doors. You need to call Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville because they're the best, and they're the best at getting you a good deal on the best quality of windows and doors. And right now, in the month of February, this is what they have going on. 47% off qualifying installations and no interest if paid in full. Within 12 months, no payments due. How about that? Schedule your free consultation with Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville online easily at PellaNashville.com. Tell them to give you the Dawn deal. Throwing that out here from Super Bowl, from Radio Roll. And Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville can take care of you. You can also stop by their showroom in Franklin. You can stop by their showroom in Hendersonville, 256 East Main Street in Hendersonville. And it is 277 Mallory Station Road in Franklin. Give them a call, 615-249-1910, PellaNashville.com.
Good afternoon. It is 2:58. I'm Joseph Bonanno live from Super Bowl Radio Row. In college football news today, two-time NFL Coach of the Year and Cal alum Ron Rivera is expected to take the general manager-like role with Cal football. An All-American for the Golden Bears, Rivera returns to Berkeley to work for head coach Justin Wilcox for a new era of Cal football. Tonight in college basketball, top 15 matchup in the SEC as number 4 Tennessee hosts number 15 Missouri at Thompson-Boling Arena. Tonight, Zakai Ziegler and Igor Milicic are expected to return. Both missed the last game versus Florida. Tip-off for that one is at 6 p.m. You can catch the Ball Network call of the game starting at 5:30 right after 3HL. Also in SEC hoops tonight, Georgia hosts LSU at 8. Arkansas on the road looking for their third SEC win of the season against Texas at 8. For your foundation repair, waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Balls. This is 104.5 The Zone.
HL 104.5 The Zone. Britt Doherty, Don Davenport, Ron Slay, broadcasting live from New Orleans, Radio Row. Our Radio Row coverage brought to you by Low T Center and Rude, who is proud to partner locally with Roscoe Brown. For more information, to listen on demand, visit 1045thezone.com. We're going to get super nerdy in numbers right now. Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network, joins us now, analyst and writer for NFL Network. Hey, Cynthia, how are you?
I'm great. I love that. Listen, and as much as I can pump my nerdness, I love it. That's the best thing to be known as. It's true.
Well, we were talking about some of the really intelligent people that you spend a lot of your day with, and now you're with us. So,
which just means you guys are very intelligent. Transitive property.
We're providing you diversity here.
So what got you interested in statistics and analytics and numbers and all those things?
I think I always liked why. I wanted to know why something. I think it's very valid to just not like something or to think something valid, but it's a little bit better for conversation's sake and for exploring why did something happen. I started off with I was an investment banker, so why should we make this investment or why shouldn't we make this investment, right? I know it's nerdy. I know. I'm just living up to my listen. You call me a nerd and you just set the expectation. So no, but ultimately
I didn't call you a nerd. I said
I'm good.
Discussion will be that.
Oh, she's great with the nerd.
Oh, okay.
I like it. I'm owning it. So no, but long story short, I just always wanted to know why, so I could always have a reason, right? I wanted to be well reasoned and really understand what's going on here. Why am I doing this? Why? What is the reason? What's my awareness of this?
So why sports? You used to be an investment banker. Why sports
is more fun. Your wins and losses. Your wins and losses. They're a lot less consequential. In many ways, right? There is money involved, but not quite the same thing about investment banking was great, but I liked the human element. I like the human element of sports. I grew up in East Lansing, Michigan, which is the home of Michigan State. So I grew up around, Big Ten program. My Dean Pease, if you remember him, obviously.
Of course, yes.
His wife was
love him.
His wife was my volleyball coach growing up.
Wow.
Yeah. He was when he was at Michigan State. We won't age anybody. I was Doogie Howser. I was 3. But just playing on high school.
Don just turned 26.
Exactly. But yeah, no. But I was always kind of around that, and I liked the team dynamics. I grew up playing soccer and volleyball, and I really liked all of the lessons I learned from that. And I guess I just hated my weekends and holidays. I didn't want to spend any time with my family. That's
right. Take it away.
Just kidding. No, I just appreciated it more.
Okay.
Did anyone try to recruit you in for a program, whether it be college or the professional ranks, to try to get those analytics and numbers, and you just stayed away from it?
So far. Eventually I would like to go get a big ring that's lots of diamonds on it that means something. It will take the right set of owner, GM, coach, because the hard part is division. Because the hard part is I'm risk aversion is interesting. As you get older, you're like, okay, well, I don't know if I go out to this team, is this worth it? The risk of, because I love telling stories to fans. I love being able to communicate the data. I've really tried hard to make it accessible. They don't need to go have the degrees that I have to understand it, and that's what I've been kind of honing in on, to change course like that with all of the upheaval, because it's not like the good teams fire their
Right.
Like the job openings aren't typically with the good teams with the stable owners. So usually you want to try to find the right set of circumstances to be able to make it all work together.
Yeah.
Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network. So are there teams? Obviously there are, but how does this happen? Teams get ahead of other teams in terms of that side of the business.
I mean, in a lot of ways, it's a very good drafting gives you such a great leg up just because the sheer money you save with a rookie pay scale, especially at the key 5 positions, quarterback, left tackle, pass rusher, corner, and wide receiver. If you're able to save a little money in those spaces, then you're able to spend and get some of these spendier free agents that, maybe they're proven entities, but you may overpay for them, and you may have to because that's what the market dictates. So, balancing your homegrown talent and figuring out how to pay them while getting the right, teams aren't really the superstars are easier to identify and the bad players are easier to identify. It's the middle and that messy middle, getting the messy middle right, where in my system, they work to be a little bit better than in your system. That's where you get an edge over teams.
So the hope for the Titans was, without question, that Will Levis turned into franchise quarterback, right? Because of the rookie deal, and then you can spend money elsewhere. And
second round pick.
There was just a disconnect.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know if I think it's the worst decision. You weren't picking one. You didn't take him one overall.
They are now.
Sure, you are now, right? But I feel like with Will Levis, there was far more up than down. You're not in a bad spot here. It's not a great spot, but now you get to pick first and you get to make some decisions. And those decisions, there are so many options. The world is your oyster. The free agent market's going to be interesting. Yeah. This is a light this is a light tight end class. I'm lying to you. It's a light offensive line class. There's 2 tight ends that I like is what I was going to say. But it's a light offensive line class, so you're going to have to make some business decisions. But when you're picking number 1 overall, you can make that decision. You can make that decision with the best information possible. And also, you've got a great division. The division is not the
garbage.
It's not the hardest one to be in. It's not the AFC West.
She's so nice.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's another word for that.
It's pretty weak.
But that's great. That means upside.
Yes.
And that means the opportunity to take some big leaps and bounds with. There's a lot of that defense. There's a lot of great pieces on there, and to not need certain things that other people need gives you an advantage. So
see, I feel like there's some pieces too offensively that people are overlooking because I think the offensive line is such a disaster for this Titans. But you've got Tajay Spears, you've got running back taken care of. You've got Ridley at wide receiver. I mean, there are some pieces on this team. It's not like it's 8 million holes to fill. It's only 1 million.
The harder part about dictating what you want to do with the offense is it's easier to talk about what pieces you have on the offense when you know at least the quarterback you're going to be structuring the offense around. Just think about it. You wouldn't want to structure a team. You wouldn't want to plop Lamar Jackson in on a team that's structured for Patrick Mahomes. Yep. It just wouldn't work as well, right? So you want to match the fit to the type. So, and you can do that when you're picking first.
So, obviously the need is at quarterback, so we got to figure out if one of these 2 quarterbacks is worthy of the number 1 overall pick, right?
I don't know. There's a whole bunch of scenarios that I think could play out really nicely for Tennessee. I believe when people say they want a generational talent, I believe them. I think there are 2 generational talents that I can really think about when in this draft class, neither of which are quarterbacks. No shade. It's not a shade thing. It's just easier to imagine some being generational than others, right? So it's I'm not saying Cam Ward isn't great. I'm not saying Shedeur Sanders isn't great. Yeah. I'm saying that if you really want a generational talent, maybe you look at, a two-way guy, or maybe you look at an edge rusher that is pretty darn good. So, but again, if you're picking first, you can do that. You can find the right, you have all of that trade equity, the trade equity, these points, you can Google it. The Jimmy Johnson pay scale is basically what they use, even if people say they aren't using it. If you go back and retrade the deals, it's pretty much the same deal, right? And they drop off precipitously. So if you're going even from 1 to 3, maybe we hear something in the combine that the Giants are going to need to trade up if they're going to get a quarterback. Blah, blah, blah. You can get some value for who knows, right? So I think finding until your O-line solved, it's going to be hard for any quarterback. So I don't know if I think that's the generational situation. That's a bad situation for any talent, generational or not.
Slay, that's where you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Offensive line.
We got to get this fixed. The right side has got to be something done. You got something to grow with, but numbers-wise, how much does that mean to these teams that are successful?
The offensive line?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you want to know the best offensive lines this year?
Yes.
Philadelphia Eagles.
Philadelphia Eagles, Detroit Lions.
Yep.
No, their defense was completely emaciated, but like, you know, they were their
they wouldn't beat up, they may be here.
Yeah. The Buffalo Bills, they went pretty far.
Yep.
And at the end of the season, the Ravens turned into one of the better. They didn't start that way.
No, they didn't.
Three new offensive linemen this year, but once they figured it out, they pulled it together late in the season. So if you're just looking at, I looked through this, you know, a couple of days ago, and I don't think that teams that get to the playoffs, it's very rare for a team to win more than one game in the playoffs if your O-line is not at least top 8 in the league.
Right.
So it's hard.
Right.
You got to be right up there.
Agreed.
So what's the next most important position? Quarterback?
Well, no, quarterback's the most important one, but
then offensive line.
But the thing is the reason offensive line is 5 players. So that's a very important factor, but you have to get that right mix. Like, some people need better guards, and you can sacrifice at tackle. That's what the Panthers did, and it started to work for them at the end. And the Saints of yesteryear, they did that as well with Drew Brees. But then you look at a team like the Broncos were really smart to sign Mike McGlinchey in the latter half of this season, because they got a deal on him. If McGlinchey would have hit the open market, that right tackle would have been out so fast, right? So they did a good job. They did a good job snagging him when they did. I mean, the Lions paid Penei Sewell a lot of money, and he's worth every penny. I don't think I think he will get votes for MVP, even though he won't win it, but I think he will get votes at honors for MVP. That's how important it is. So it is. But you remember, it's 5 people. Not just, it'd be hard to be like, you can only pick one quarterback.
Right.
That was that Joe Burrow draft with Penei Sewell right there. That was something.
You know, it was just so funny because I remember Dan Campbell be like, yes.
Yeah, right. Right.
That's my guy.
Cynthia Freeland, thank you for sitting down with us
Thanks for having
helping
me.
to educate us a little bit. Appreciate your time.
Listen, I'm glad to be here. I might have to steal an M&M. Just saying.
Yeah, we
got choices, actually.
Perfect. Oh, great.
Peanut. We got peanut butter.
What's this one? Okay, this is great.
Good
Thanks,
stuff
guys.
there.
Yeah, we got peanut butter too.
Yum.
Peanut butter and peanut.
There she is.
Peanut butter.
Cynthia
Snacks.
Freeland.
Peanut butter.
Todd Ferman, Bet the Board Podcast, joins us next. 3HL 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening, good people? KellamStemCellInstitute.com. That's where you need to head over to. Holistic stem cell therapy brought to you. All you got to do is sit there and rap with Dr. Kellum, man, when you get your consultation, and tell him everything that's hurting on you. Like me, for instance, I went in there, had a setup with them, and told Dr. Kellum, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. I done did all kind of rehab. I'm trying to do ice, this, that, and other. He was like, man, you got the healing power in your body. It's your body. It's your cells, which makes it your solution. These cells are your body's own healing cells, harvested and redeployed based on your needs. So I'm going back Again, yes, to get a little touch up, got to meet with Dr. Kellum next week, matter of fact, because once you're in, you're in. You're in the game to win, and that's what they do. Congestive heart failure, lung issues, autism, arthritis, does not matter. Set up your consultation today at 615-850-4415. That is the number to call. Now, understand this. It's Kellum. StemCellInstitute.com. Get over there, meet with them, make it real simple for yourself. KellumStemCellInstitute.com.
Looking for the place to watch the biggest game of the year. Scoreboard Opry is gearing up for the best party in town to end the football season. You going Philly or KC? It's anyone's guess. But one thing's for sure, the game is this Sunday at 5:30. Come to Scoreboard and watch it on their 10x10 screen on stage 45 plus. TVs all having the full sound around the huge heated deck, so you can catch the action wherever you sit. Indulge in their beer bucket, bushwhacker, and food specials. Oh, and it just so happens that National Pizza Day is happening, and they're celebrating by featuring their pizza fries all day. They'll have famous jumbo prize wheel giving away great prizes for each quarter, even a trip to Orange Beach with accommodations and food and drink gift cards for the trip. Spasmatics playing the best 80s and 90s music 2 until 5 that day, so get there early to start your Sunday fun day. Scoreboard, the best place to watch the big game with delicious food, cold beer, the largest bushwhacker selection, and as always, tons of free parking. Scoreboard Bar and Grill. There you go. 3HL 104.5 The Zone. Brent Doherty, Don Davenport, and Ron Slay. Broadcasted live from Radio Row in New Orleans. Our Radio Row coverage brought to you by Low T Center and Rude, who is proud to partner locally with MCH Nashville. For more information, or if you missed some of our conversations, Ian Rapoport, Thomas Dimitroff, Cynthia Freeland so far today, Coach Mack, you can go online, 1045thezone.com. Download the 3HL podcast where you get your podcast. Rate, review, subscribe, and do that for the Bet the Board podcast with our guy Todd Ferman, who joins us now as he does every Wednesday.
Todd Father.
From Las Vegas. Todd, what's up? How are you?
I am doing well, but with that star-studded guest list that you guys have in store for a Wednesday, I feel like the listeners are going to be disappointed that they have to hear my nasally voice for the normal Wednesday spot. But I appreciate you guys fitting me in, because normally during Super Bowl week, if I can't show up in person, you guys kick me to the curb.
Man, Todd Father, that's the way you want to start this, not with just what Tennessee did over the weekend. That's cool. I mean, hey, it was just, they only had 7 players. I know we had the Super Bowl, but 7 scholarship players that go win by 20. Who's counting?
Look, Slay, when you're the third best team on the court in the SEC, I can only sing your praises so loudly when you'd be ranked third in the state if Knoxville was a suburb somewhere in the great state of Alabama, which apparently is dominating college basketball these days.
It is.
There's
no pushback on that one. Yeah, I can't push back on that one, Todd. That's a good one right there, man.
But to your point, Slay, it was an impressive win, and I think the betting market is always interesting in a game like that because you see the number open up with the Vols a 5-point favorite. A lot of people go, wait a second, didn't they lose by 30 on the road in Gainesville? And then, of course, Ziegler gets downgraded a couple hours before tip, and then a few minutes before you get another key contributor. And credit to Tennessee. They withstood the storm early on in that game. The defense locked them down, and for the first time in a long time, shots started to fall from deep and reminded everybody why they are a legitimate case can be made for them to get to the Final Four if the offense doesn't leave them high and dry in the 6 games it takes to cut down the nets and win a national title.
Before we switch over, Todd Father, is college basketball this year the hardest to bet?
You know what? I'm not going to necessarily say the hardest, and the only reason I say that is because I'm not in it every day the same way I used to be if we were having this discussion 7 to 10 years ago. But what I will say from monitoring the markets on a day-in, day-out basis, a lot of these situational spots that we've grown accustomed to betting where people want to gravitate towards that unranked home team laying a short number against a ranked opponent, odds makers are forcing you to pay a premium. So a couple of days ago, I know when Iowa State goes on the road to McHale and Caleb Love hits that shot to force overtime, you're laying 3.5 with Arizona against the Cyclones, and while Arizona does ultimately get the cover, you're paying a premium to do so. And then even yesterday, when you have a key injury for USC, the betting market is getting so efficient in college basketball that a lot of these numbers are moving faster than ever, even before you have full confirmation that some key contributors are going to be out. And it's one of those things that if you're a bettor and you think you have a little bit of intel, you have to move early and hope you're going to be on the right side of a player getting ruled out if you want to get the best of the number.
So Slay and I had this, you'll be proud of us. We had this conversation on the plane last night, or maybe it was at dinner, that we are not going to bet the SEC basketball anymore.
As I'm betting.
Well, look, I think sometimes that's not going to happen. So I'm going to make the no on that minus 50,000, and that'll get broken by the time we get to Friday.
There's too many weird things happening in SEC basketball, like game to game.
Here's the thing, and, I think Slay, this is where I'll say something nice about you, sees all these teams up close and personal, the X's and O's. If you look at the betting market, there are still opportunities where it tips its hand. And I think yesterday, the perfect illustration, where I got a number of texts from people thinking that it was free money to back Kentucky +5 going on the road to Oxford. And then you look at Ole Miss go out there and a team that struggles offensively to consistently put up numbers, flirt with the opportunity to get to 90. So it's looking for the betting market and for a guy who watches the game as closely as you do to figure out the X's and O's to go, okay, I see why the betting market suggests this. I understand why the line is moving that way. And then to be able to jump in, combining the quantitative component with the qualitative component and, of course, the all-important eye test as well.
Yep. Agreed.
Todd Ferman joins us. I guess we should talk about the Super Bowl. Here's the thing I'm interested in, Todd. As you go through the regular season and your power numbers say this team should be favored by 7.5, but they're only a 4-point favorite. So in terms of, as you said, printing money, there you go. That's an easy bet for you, right? As you get to the Super Bowl, though, that's where everybody wants to, make up ground or bet on the game who guys who don't normally bet because they're going to watch the Super Bowl and all these things. But from your perspective, the teams in terms of their power number are as accurate as they've been all season, right? Like, so you come up against Super Bowl, you might not like the game, right? Like, you might not want to bet it, whereas everybody else does. So how do you balance all that?
Oh, 100%. And the one good thing about the Super Bowl is that you have a laundry list of available prop bets to try and find an angle one way or another that may offer a little bit more opportunity and upside. And I think for folks that are curious in terms of how the sausage is made, they'd get a kick out of the discussion we had on the Bet the Board podcast we recorded this morning, where Payne kind of broke things down, shared that Philadelphia, he makes right around a 0.75 point favorite against the Chiefs. Kansas City as a 1.5 point favorite in the game. Under normal circumstances, require at least a small bet on the Eagles, knowing that you had roughly 2 points in value and opportunity. But the reality of it is that edge is so small because it doesn't come around a key number. And I think what's lost sometimes on recreational bettors, by no fault of their own, that the difference, if you make a team a 1 point favorite and they're catching 1.5 in the market, that margin is so small compared to the difference if I make a team a 3.5 point favorite and I have an opportunity to lay a field goal. The edge is much more substantial around some of those key numbers. So that's kind of what you're looking for, and you take a small value bet here or there, and you try and identify a handful of prop bets that allow you to build out a portfolio. But even along that same wavelength, when you look at the prop market where it is now in 2025 versus when we started doing these segments, 10 plus years ago, player props are available each and every Sunday throughout the fall. So with a lot of the national books that are out there, the DraftKings, the FanDuels, etc., they're much more familiar with hanging over-unders on the marquee players. So maybe you get some secondary options and a little bit more liquidity that otherwise wouldn't be available. But when I was behind the counter, we would only hang props for playoff games, standalone games, and then you had the expansive menu for the Super Bowl. So we could be off upwards of 8, 10, 12 yards in certain instances, and professional bettors come in pretty quickly. You move aggressively, and the market takes shape. Now those margins are so small, and if you can't identify a game plan or a game state that's going to give you opportunity and upside, it minimizes some of the edge that you otherwise would have had in the props.
So when you break down this game, when you analyze this game, does it come down to Chiefs defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo? Can he slow down that Eagles run game? And then the other side of it, obviously, is what does Patrick Mahomes come up with? Because you think he's limited in terms of, skill position talent, let's say, explosive plays maybe in the pass game, although Xavier Worthy's kind of changed that a little bit. But, trying to figure out what Patrick Mahomes can and will do.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to try and encapsulate it. And, what's even more fascinating is you dig into some of the X's and O's for this matchup. What Kansas City does well actually plays directly into the hands of where the Philadelphia Eagles defense are at their best. So does Kansas City try and go, we're going to fit a square peg into a round hole and stick with our DNA? Or do we kind of try and break tendency, knowing that we have some of those secondary options and weapons? Because when you dig into Patrick Mahomes so far this season, this is a quarterback that has been outstanding when he gets the ball out of his hands quickly. When he gets it out in under 2.5 seconds, he's fifth in the league in catchable throw rate, second in off-target throw rate, ninth in completion percentage over expectation. But when he hangs onto the football longer than he wants, those numbers dip to a bottom-tier quarterback, 31st in catchable throw rate, 25th in off-target throw rate, and 33rd in completion percentage over expectation. And herein lies the rub with the Philadelphia Eagles. They're one of the best defenses when it comes to forcing quarterbacks to get the ball out of their hands quickly. Their cornerback and their remade defensive backfield is truly different than what it was a couple of years ago in this matchup. So how does KC try and go about combating that, working under the assumption that it's going to be difficult for them to run the football? And that's why this game, at least on the surface for people, they see it as a rematch. But these two teams are completely different as constructed now in 2025, when we saw them play one of the highest scoring football games and the only one in Super Bowl history where you had two teams each score 35 plus points the last time around that resulted in a Chiefs win by the slimmest of margins.
Todd Ferman, our guy in Vegas. It sounds like an underlean there. Todd, am I reading too much into that?
Yeah, that's, if I was getting involved in the total, I do think the number is a bit aggressive. When we were looking at some of the advanced numbers that were available, 46.5, 47 is kind of where we expected this total to open. And then you get Conference Championship Sunday where both games go flying over the total. Philadelphia breaks a Conference Championship game record with 55. Kansas City has their largest offensive outburst of the season. And you can understand why some books went as high as 50.5. there's been a little bit of under money. And if you think both of these teams move the football methodically, then it's going to be difficult to get to a number this tall. But if you think there are a couple of big plays for the Kansas City Chiefs offense and they score touchdowns instead of kicking field goals, and Philadelphia can rip off some big gains, then the total might be a little bit light. But for me, definitely would be more inclined to go under the total than I would to be betting this over at 48.5, 49 where it sits.
Todd, Father, you guys don't have time to be diving into like prop bets of what Andy Reid, which color hat he's going to be wearing and stuff like that.
It's not
which I'm betting on.
It's not the time, Slay. It's the ability to actually make it worth our while. And for markets like that just don't have the ability to move enough money, the information for that is probably more readily available to us than it would be for most. And I think back a couple of years ago, and I can't remember which Super Bowl, so I apologize in advance, when you had the anthem singer that came from the country music community, we had a pretty good intel on exactly within a tenth of a second how long that national anthem was going to be. So we did everything we could to get down as much money as possible. But you're talking about substantially lower limits across the board for that than you can in any individual player props that are going to be able to be bet with a lot more opportunity and upside than what you'd see on a typical Sunday during the season.
Right.
So you don't necessarily dive in fully to, which color Gatorade will be dumped, orange being the favorite? Or
No, I mean, look, the reality of it is we'll have people on the sidelines that can kind of tell us what colors are on each respective sideline, but at the same time, you have to also figure out which team is going to win the game. And, that handicap can be as challenging as anything else. And what we've seen over the last couple of years, you haven't had the same color Gatorade on both sidelines, so it's taken away a little bit of an edge. So I can't imagine that the Chiefs wearing their white jerseys, if you think they're going to win, are going to have nothing but red Gatorade. So again, every edge in gambling as we get more and more into these mature, legalized markets seems to get eroded game by game.
Kendrick Lamar's first song. You going down that path?
Yeah, DNA.
I mean, look, this is where I lean on you guys more than, trusting my expertise.
Slay just told you.
I mean, unless Slay has been able to confirm this, I don't want him speculating on what the odds are. So unless Slay's got a direct line to Kendrick Lamar's camp or he's going to be invited to rehearsal, that's the only way I bet into those prop markets. I'm not in the business of flipping coins, ladies and gents. Those are the kind of markets where if you lose, you kick yourself because you didn't have the perfect information.
I mean, I do know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, though.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Well, look, I mean, as long as it's not Dawn Sweatshirt guy, we'll be okay.
Bet the Board podcast is out, right, Todd? You did say that.
We put it out earlier this morning, a full hour show, kind of breaking down the market, both sides of the ball, offered up a couple of props and shared our perspective in terms of where we thought some of these numbers should have been, and tried to put a bow on what has been probably by our Bet the Board standards the most challenging season we've had in 11 years of the podcast.
Let me ask you something about golf real quick. With regard to the TGL Indoor Golf League, are people betting that, number one? And number two, Tiger Woods is participating. Does that mean we'll see him in the majors this year?
Hopefully we get Tiger out there in some capacity, at least at Augusta. We know he is always a big draw. In the last handful of years, it's been fun to be able to bet against Tiger from a wagering standpoint. But you mentioned that well, look, I mean, the bottom line is his body is broken down. So Tiger trying to be able to walk a full 72 is a little bit of an uphill battle. But you mentioned TGL, and there are books that are taking some action on it. They said it's being very lightly bet. So odds makers are trying to match wits with some of the professionals and lower limits as well. But, as it grows in prominence, if it does, I think you'll get more and more golf fans looking to try and get involved. Once they get their weekend fix, they can roll it into the Monday and Tuesday night events.
There he is. He's Todd Ferman, Bet the Board podcast. Download it, rate, review, subscribe. They've got an hour for you for Super Bowl content. Thank you, Todd.
Thanks, Todd,
man.
Father.
Always a pleasure, guys. Enjoy your time in New Orleans. Stay safe down there.
Thanks, Ferman.
Says the guy from Vegas. Stay safe. Dude, seriously, like, there police presence, military presence, like, fully involved down here.
Everywhere, too.
Mm-hmm. Inside, outside, anywhere.
May or may not have hit the casino last night. And
what games did you play? Was it straight blackjack?
Casino may have hit us.
Blackjack, craps. Mm-hmm. We didn't hit roulette.
We didn't.
Needed to hit roulette. We hit, what?
Yeah.
What was that, 3-card poker?
What kind of deal?
Zeph and Slay hit roulette, they're saying.
Well, we kind of watched.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what was the roulette?
Oh, Jason Kelsey was there with his wife.
Y'all saw some random people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Roman
they
Harper.
were-
6 black.
Yep.
Roman Harper. With a hot dog.
Yeah, man.
Just got to go
That's
into full detail.
Yeah, that's true. Did have hot dog.
But Kelsey and his wife were sitting at the table by themselves?
No, there were people at the table
Yeah.
with them, but they did have a very large presence of a security guard standing right
They
over
did.
them.
Mm-hmm.
Like one specific guy was large?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It was very clear what he was there to do, which was protect them.
And mess you up should you try anything
I
Correct.
dare you.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, I dare
Well,
you.
because remember, wasn't it
was at a-
Jason Kelsey with
Yep.
the video of the
Oh,
fan
yeah.
messing with him,
Yeah.
and then he.
That turns you
Which
into
I'm
a
like,
target.
don't be that.
Yep.
Don't be that d-bag,
I
right?
hate that.
Like leave people alone.
That reminds me of your, whenever you text that, the emojis that you use.
Oh yeah, D/ It's a
Suitcase.
picture of a suitcase. You get it?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
We got him.
Oh, we got it.
Okay.
Oh, we got it. Basketball action, Missouri at Tennessee. Fall Network coverage begins at 5:30 today on 104.5 The Zone. Tennessee, an 8.5-point favorite. Tip-off at 6.
That's a lot of points, man.
For
That is a lot of points.
For a team that just went down to Starkville and blew the crap out of Mississippi State.
Like they're so long and rangy, man, and they're deep. Like they can actually go 11 deep. Like I know it sounds crazy, like to keep on talking about this with different teams, but they can go 10 to 11 deep with guys that can play. It's amazing. Dennis Gates went from not winning a game to coming in and keeping receipts too, might I add. Like when you watch those guys in the post-game presser, those guys all are huddled around and they all are saying, shh. Like, no, don't say nothing now. We back. You know, we didn't win a game last year, but the mentality is there, and you can see it coming through with
He's been there.
Coach Gates and the
This
team.
is fourth year down there, and I saw the stats the other day. Like, year 1 was awful. Year 2 was good.
Yep.
Year 3 was
Awful.
You saw.
Yep.
Winless in the
Yep.
conference, and now they're ranked. They're
Back to where
they're beating ranked teams.
Back to where they are. Yep.
So 8.5. Arkansas at Texas. Texas favored by 6.5. 8 o'clock ESPN, and LSU at Georgia. 8.5. Georgia Bulldogs favored there. 8 p.m.
That's a lot of
SEC
points.
Network. Auburn ripped Oklahoma last night. 98-70. We watched some of that.
That's right.
Auburn just too good.
Vandy gave Florida some issues for a while, but the Gators pulled away and won 86-75. And Ole Miss beat Kentucky
Chris Beard now.
98-84.
Is it more about Chris Beard or is it about Mark Pope and people catching up to the offense?
Wildcats have lost 4 out of 5. More 3HL when we come back, and hope you're enjoying. You can definitely go online if you missed something. The Thomas Dimitroff, Ian Rapoport stuff was fascinating to us. Hopefully it would be to you. But go back and listen to that if you are so inclined. Lindsay Rhodes from Sumar Sports coming up. Trey Wingo after that. And, again, we're out at 5:30. That's next 3HL 104.5 The Zone. If you are often feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait. Find out. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple test, and with their on-site lab, you'll get results right back right there. Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low T with testosterone replacement therapy or TRT for each patient. The experts at Low T Center have over a decade of experience helping patients, and super important, their personal treatment plans are optimized for each patient. These aren't just basic standard treatments. For current patients, Low T Center offers you a 150 referral credit for each new patient that you refer. And at Low T Center, you can also get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription GLP-1 weight loss medications. So get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare. 3HL 104.5 The Zone. Brent Doherty, Don Davenport, and Ron Slay. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. We'll be down here at Radio Row in New Orleans tomorrow and Friday. Coming up on the show tomorrow, Marcus Allen,
the legend,
Hall of Famer, Greg Cosell, and CJ2K, among others. We'll have certainly more guests than that, but those three will hop on for sure tomorrow, and we're looking forward to it. Fun down here in New Orleans. We got in late last night.
Nolans.
And I'm just going to go ahead, we're full disclosure. I am mentally exhausted right now.
A little mentally fried.
Get in here about 9, somewhere in there, and it's just
10:15. Oh, this morning you mean 9? Yeah, sorry, I thought you meant last.
But you get to the point where there's so many people walking around, and you're trying to figure out who is who, and all these things. It just. You become, numb almost.
Yeah, sensory overload.
Mentally,
sure.
That's exactly what it is. Yes, thank you. Sensory overload. Mentally numb. Comfortably numb by Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Comfortably numb. We are also scheduled to talk to Brian Baldinger tomorrow. I'm anxious for that.
Baldy's Breakdown.
Baldy's Breakdown on Twitter is just absolutely amazing. And, we'll get his take on the growth of Peter Skoronski and J.C. Latham in year one certainly had ups and downs.
And his take on Will Levis, too.
Yeah. The right side of that offensive line.
Well, that, too.
Baldy could probably give them more than what they got, even at his age of 26.
Right. So Will
Everybody's
Levis.
26.
Everybody's 26.
Yep.
Will Levis is here. Was here yesterday and spoke to Jim Wyatt.
I asked him about that. Is Will wandering around today? He's like, I don't know. I think
yesterday
bailed,
was his only day,
yeah.
and he bailed. But I know Big Jeff is here. I haven't seen him in here, but he's obviously here for tomorrow night's award show too. He's the Titans candidate for the Walter Payton Man of the Year for all of his charity work that he does all throughout Nashville and how he gives back. But Jim Wyatt, TennesseeTitans.com, did talk to Will Levis and basically asked him about how he feels here heading into the offseason, the fact they might go be looking for a quarterback.
Right.
Taking the good with the bad and making sure that I'm taking note of all the things that happened and most importantly trying to clean up the things that could have made the season go a little smoother if I were able to clean up beforehand. So a lot of good, a lot of things that I think I was able to improve on from last year and a lot of stuff that I know is up to the level of what needs to happen as an NFL quarterback, and a lot of throws too that a lot of NFL quarterbacks weren't able to make, and I think that those plays give me the confidence to go and improve on the things that I need to propel me further in this league. So I'm looking forward to actually meeting him in person when I get back in the building next week, and then it was cool just hitting him back and forth. The first thing I noticed was the 617 area code, so that's close to my heart. So had a little talk there, but seems like a great dude. Obviously he's done some amazing things with the Chiefs, and looking forward to getting to know him and seeing what he's got planned and what he sees for the vision of this team. It doesn't change the process. I feel like I think I have a really good schedule and outlook on this next couple months before we start up OTAs, and I'm going to put myself in a great position to be healthy and be ready to play, and hopefully I can do whatever I can to show them that I can and should still be the quarterback for this team. And I feel like it's in their best interest, and they got to do their due diligence to make sure that they know who's out there and evaluate who they feel like they should evaluate. So it doesn't offend me at all, and I know going 3-14 doesn't get you your job security any year and for any team. So I know how it goes, and all I can do is put my head down and work to again show them that I can still be this team's quarterback.
Great way to answer that.
It's true.
He handled it well.
Put my head down and
gotten better
and he ain't wrong.
The year. Yeah.
3-14 isn't going to do it, especially when you're, What did you call that pass?
What?
Where he went to his knees and shoveled it to East Bum.
Oh yeah, I don't know. What did I call it?
I forget. You gave it
I
a
gave it a name. It is a name.
I'm sorry, we've tried to block that out.
It's
We've
funny.
tried to block the first part of the Titans
game.
season out.
I did notice that he said the word hopefully multiple times. So it's got to be a weird position, as a quarterback where you've dreamed of having this opportunity. You get it. It doesn't go the way you want.
You screw it up.
It doesn't go the way you want. You still want to battle, right? But you understand there's a very real possibility they're going to either bring a veteran quarterback in and overpay or evaluate one of these two quarterbacks in the draft and bring them in. Lindsay Rhodes joins us now, award-winning journalist, now co-host of the Sumer Sports Show with Thomas Dimitroff, who we had on earlier today. Fascinating guy, right?
Yeah, he is. He's a great. It's fun to have access to his brain, right?
That's how we felt today.
all of the types of questions that you wish you could ask a general manager over the years, and actually have someone who's positioned to want to answer them for you. In my position, because it's in our best interest as a show, selfishly, is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah,
well,
he was great.
And from our perspective, being in Nashville, he interviewed for the Titans general manager job, right? So had some perspective on all of those topics. I'm curious to get your take on what happened with the Titans this year. They had so much hope with Will Levis, new play caller, head coach at with Brian Callahan.
I want everybody to see her facial reaction.
She was like,
tell me what happened.
Like,
deep breath. Let me brace myself. I don't know. I to be honest, I don't know that my expectations were super high coming into the season. They look like a team that is in a transition period. My expectations weren't super high for Will Levis this season. I went in thinking that this was a big year for him to try and prove that he deserved to remain the starter. It wasn't a good year for him. And so it's I mean, I tell you what, I'm interested to see. Right? You're like, I want to ask each of you this question, to be honest.
Yeah. Deep breaths, Lindsay.
I think Callahan, I think there's some interesting room for growth, right? I don't think that we necessarily see the pieces that are there for him to be able to do what they hired him to do. And so I'll be very interested to see if they can fill some of those holes this offseason. I know we just heard from Will Levis. I agree with you that that's a tough spot to answer those questions, and I think he did a very good job. I just almost wish he wasn't in the spot to answer them now, because it feels a little bit. The thing that's weird about this year, though, is that there are so many teams, particularly at the top, this is always the case, that are a little bit desperate for quarterbacks. And it's not a great quarterback draft. Right. And I mean, everyone that I'm talking to here and at Senior Bowl trying to get a feel for it. I'm not a college person, I'm an NFL person. And I'm not a scout. I'm somebody who gathers data and then collects opinion. Or, I feel like I have informed opinions, but it's based on having covered the NFL for I don't know what, 15, 18 years, something like that. So I'm not hearing from people that love the guys, even at the top. They think, I've heard them described as high floor guys. You want to draft a high floor quarterback at 1, 2, or 3? I mean, no thanks. I want a high ceiling. If I'm going to use a draft pick that comes along so infrequently, hopefully, or that you're going to use that on somebody instead of an Abdul Carter or a Travis Hunter, or these people that people are evaluating as being very special players, that we have a higher probability that they're going to be special for a long period of time in the NFL. And those are important positions too. So it's not even there's this really great guard this year. You know what I mean? You're talking about guys at the edge, and you're talking about guys at corner, and Will Campbell at tackle. I mean, but I just feel like it's a tough year for teams that need quarterbacks that have high draft picks, because I think that teams are going to make mistakes this year.
And we've seen it over and over and over, and a lot of these guys are risk reward guys, right? But that balance gets skewed a little bit when you need a quarterback.
Yeah. Well, because if you don't have one, you don't have anything, right? And so I think that that's true.
That's Babs's point all the time.
And you can,
that's right.
And now the one thing that I will say is that we've seen it turn around so fast. From an evaluation standpoint, talk about the Browns, for instance, and they're in such a deep hole because of the contract that they gave to Deshaun Watson, the fact that they're going to continue to pay him unless they can get out because of the injury situation, and that they have never had good quarterback play from him. I mean, it's been terrible across the board. So that's a deep, deep hole that you put yourself in, and I wonder how quickly you can rebuild. And so before Myles Garrett asked for the trade, I had suggested on Cleveland Radio a month ago that I thought that might actually be the move that they should want to make. Not because you don't want Myles Garrett on your team, but because you have a high-value asset that you can get other assets. You can collect the assets that you're going to need to rebuild all of the things. And at quarterback, in their case, let's say they don't go with a quarterback at 2 this year, and maybe they pick up some other capital that they could use to move up to get a quarterback, or maybe they don't need to move up next year anyway, to take a quarterback in next year's class. And it's a better class. It's one that people are more excited about.
Yep.
Like, don't just take the position because they're the best one that's available this year. I think that's how teams dig in themselves into holes that they then need to fix. This is how it becomes a cycle.
Just out there checking the box.
That's an interesting scenario that you bring up, because now, like, you got me thinking about, well, if the Titans don't take a quarterback and the Browns don't take a quarterback, maybe the Giants do, but then there's one of the two that falls.
Right.
You know, you could have one of the two that falls. This is going to be a fascinating draft.
Well, and then let's say they don't. When does 3 go? When does the third quarterback? Because, by the way, there's no consensus on who that is. None. Yep. And the guys who were in that conversation were down in Mobile, and I mean, they weren't bad, but they did not have wow mobiles. Like, you have certain quarterbacks like Joe Flacco when he went. This is a very long time ago. I'm aging myself. When he went down to Mobile and was throwing the ball over the yard in the rain, people walked away and went, "Whoa!
Right.
Like, this is special." Nothing happened like that this year. Nothing. And so
you barely heard anything about the quarterbacks.
Right. Well, because, I mean, day one, they were actually not very good. So then it got better as the week went on, but I don't think anybody was like, oh, my God, I'm in love, you know?
Yeah.
And so if that's the case, are you going to move one of those guys into the bottom of the first round in order to get that 5th year on a quarterback? Or if you're not going to do that, then you might as well wait till the 3rd, like we saw with Malik Willis a few years ago. And my biggest question mark with this draft, and I've been assured that it's not going to happen. I've been assured that the top 2 guys are going to go in the top 3 picks. People are like, they're going, I know they're going, and people kind of say it with like a wink and a nod, like, I have information that they're not getting out of the top 3, okay? So let's assume that's true. But our team's going to be more disciplined with regards to these quarterbacks, because we talk about the moves that people make that are a little bit desperation based, but then a few years ago in the Kenny Pickett draft, teams did not do that. And I kept thinking, like, when's Malik going? I thought he might go at the end of the first round. I mean, that would have, you know, but they waited until the 3rd. So we now have a sample size of evidence that they can be disciplined if they aren't in love. And so is that what's going to happen this year?
It's going to be fascinating. Lindsay Rhodes, now co-host of the Super Sports Show with Thomas Dimitroff. Thank you for taking the time to sit down with us. We
Happy
really
to do it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right, Trey Wingo when we come back on 3HL 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? You want to look and feel better about yourself? Well, I got something for you. PAI Medical, man. WeGrowHair.com. 2025 can be the year for your hair, and it can be fuller and thicker. Now, it's Big Slate coming to you. Now, I want you to know, I went to We Grow Hair, grew my hair back, and it was the biggest confidence boost ever. You're looking at it, you can do it too. Call them right now. 615-376-6010. We Grow Hair right here in Nashville for almost 30 years with proven solutions. No one else in Tennessee has an ARTIS robotic FUE procedure, and We Grow Hair's high-density hair transplants. They give you 2 times more hair in one procedure. Now, some of these sittings, you go in there, 45-minute lays and PRP treatments, boom, for men and women. Get out of there. Backed by the only company that I trust with thinning hair. That's We Grow Hair. Call them right now at 615-376-6010. This year, look and feel better about yourself and restore your hair. Go to WeGrowHair.com. Call them now, 615-376-6010 for your free consultation right now. WeGrowHair.com.
I want to tell you about my friends at Cupton Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. That's where you need to go to get that next new vehicle, whether you're looking for a new car, truck, SUV, or Jeep, pre-owned car, truck, SUV, or Jeep. They have you covered. The entire inventory is online, GuptonMotors.com. That's where you'll see all of the dealership information. Phone number, address, inventory, deals they have going on in February, right there online, GuptonMotors.com. 3450 Tom Austin Highway in beautiful Springfield, Tennessee. 24 West, the exit 35, straight shot into Springfield at Gupton Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, where you will find the best vehicle buying experience you will have ever had. Go tell Daniel Gupton and his crew what you're looking for. They'll point you in the right direction. Take your test drive. You go inside. They will help make the numbers work, and it'll be that easy. Again, 3450 Tom Austin Highway in Springfield, Tennessee, just 30 minutes from downtown Nashville. That's Gupton Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram.
Good afternoon. It is 2:58. I'm Joseph Bonanno live from Super Bowl Radio Row. In college football news today, two-time NFL Coach of the Year and Cal alum Ron Rivera is expected to take the general manager-like role with Cal football. An All-American for the Golden Bears, Rivera returns to Berkeley to work for head coach Justin Wilcox for a new era of Cal football. Tonight in college basketball, top 15 matchup in the SEC as number 4 Tennessee hosts number 15 Missouri at Thompson-Boling Arena. Tonight, Zakai Ziegler and Igor Milicic are expected to return. Both missed the last game versus Florida. Tip-off for that one is at 6 p.m. You can catch the Ball Network call of the game starting at 5:30 right after 3HL. Also in SEC hoops tonight, Georgia hosts LSU at 8. Arkansas on the road looking for their third SEC win of the season against Texas at 8. For your foundation repair, waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Balls. This is 104.5 The Zone.
HL 104.5 The Zone. Brent Doherty, Don Davenport, Ron Slay. Hour number 3, 5 o'clock hour is underway. 104.5 The Zone, broadcasting live from New Orleans at Radio Row. You can tune in each day, today, Thursday, Friday, and hear incredible guests like this guy, Trey Wingo, joining us now. Radio Row coverage presented by Rude, who is proud to partner locally with Roscoe Brown. Trey Wingo, broadcast legend. What's up, man? Is that who? Did I read that sign correctly?
No, whatever.
That
just feels weird. But thank you very much. It's always fun to be with you guys. How are you?
He'll pay you later.
We are great, man. What is Radio Row like for you? Like, how many of these things do you do? Talking about Renegade Fantasy Football.
Yeah, we'll get into a lot of Renegade. It's really fun, but it's an immersive experience is the best way to describe Radio Row, right? You guys have been doing this forever, right?
Yeah. It's actually kind of mind-numbing on some level.
It's mind-melding at some point.
What do you think about this matchup, Philadelphia and Kansas City? We get it 2 out of the last 3 years now. Do you kind of feel a sense from fans across the country that maybe they're tired of Kansas City, or do they want to see the history?
Yeah, just a little bit. Maybe just a little bit.
Some people want to see history.
I listen, I'm with you,
yeah.
But I think that CF and CDS are real. Chief fatigue and chief derangement syndrome. Real. I've never seen more people twist themselves into a brain logic fart about the Chiefs and the penalties in my life.
Yeah.
I get it. They win all the time. I get it. It's out of the ordinary. But here's what everyone needs to understand. And I say this with all due respect. NFL refs are terrible. They are not good at their job. They're not. And you see that more often in Chiefs games because, wait for it, you see more Chiefs games.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
The Chiefs this year regular season, the Chiefs played on Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The only day of the week they didn't play a game was Tuesday. Okay? Which means they are in every primetime window, every national window that they could be in because the NFL knows that they draw. That does not mean the NFL thinks they should help them win. And I can debunk this very easily on a couple of ones. Let's just go through one of the more egregious ones in week 2. 4th and 16 against the Bengals. They don't get the pass. It's pass interference. It was blatant pass interference.
Right.
Blatant pass. He ran through the receiver. So and by the way, why was it 4th and 16? On the previous play, it was 4th and 6. They converted to Travis Kelce, but they called holding on the Chiefs. So if you want the Chiefs to win, why would you call a 4th and 6 conversion back and make it 4th and 16? Doesn't make sense.
Helps the story, Trey.
Exactly. Okay, now let's go to the one that has everybody crazy, which is the Texans game. The guy that called the first roughing the passer penalty is the back judge. That's his job. He stands behind the quarterback. Now, what he sees is Willie Anderson Jr. leading with the crown of his helmet and Patrick's head go back. Now, did Patrick's head go back because of forcible contact or graze, or was he avoiding getting headbutted? Anytime the ref sees that, he's going to throw the flag. Now, you can say it should be reviewable, and I'm with you 100%. 100%. And the second one was just a bad call. But if you want to win that game, Houston, maybe you don't have 8 sacks.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't miss 4 kicks in the game. Maybe you don't give up a 65-yard kick return to start the game. Get out of here with that garbage. Get out of here.
Spot on.
Well, it's also what they do with those penalties. Like, they take advantage of opportunity, right?
Like a good team does.
That's right.
Like
11 one-score games, too.
Yeah, 17 in a row, including last season in the playoffs. Obliterating the record set by the Patriots at 13. And, oh, by the way, what did we say about the Patriots? God, they're just getting away with everything.
Yep.
Everybody hated them, too.
Yeah.
Trey Wingo with us. Tell us about Renegade Fantasy Football. What do you got going there?
Well, it's basically fantasy football the way you would play real football, okay? Like, I'm sure you guys all play fantasy, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got a big matchup this week, and your starting running back is Brian Robinson Jr. Oh, he twists his ankle in the first quarter. Well, you're screwed, right? Well, in real football, you put in another player to replace Brian Robinson. But in fantasy football, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
With the Renegade app, you can. You can just say, I'm going to put another player in the game. It's not, sorry, your roster's locked, you can't make any changes. Why should you not be allowed to make changes? Like, that's what football is. You have to adapt. So the Renegade app allows you to substitute when a player gets injured. And maybe that substitute player is not going to give you the numbers that Robinson did, but it's going to keep you in the game long enough that your other superstars can potentially win that matchup for you. So the other thing we do is we give you what's called a second chance draft. 95% of the first pick in this year's drafts, I'm sure, was Christian McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't find out until 2 days before the start of the season he wasn't going to play in the Week 1 game. And they didn't play 7 weeks.
Yep.
So if you drafted him number 1 overall and there are no running backs, you're done.
Yep.
So what the Renegade Sports app, Fantasy Sports app does, it allows you to have a second chance draft. Okay, no one expected Robinson to be this good or Christian to be out this long. So we'll redraft. We'll do a second chance draft, and it keeps everybody in the game longer, which is what everybody wants. That's why we play fantasy football. We want to have a reason to watch besides our team if our team sucks.
We're in Nashville.
Simply put.
Yeah, I know.
There's a whole lot of fantasy love in Nashville because the real team sucks.
You're right about that, though. That's the one biggest problem with fantasy football, and I hadn't even thought about it until you brought it up.
Well, the guy that develops it is I've worked with forever, Steve Mandel. He does this all the time. He's really smart at this, and I think it's going to take off because it just makes more sense. It makes more sense.
So download the Renegade Fantasy Football app.
Yep, wherever you get your apps, either at Apple Store or the App Store or on Google Play.
If you're the Titans, who do you pick first? Or do you pick first?
I don't know about any of these quarterbacks.
Right.
I just like there's not a guy that I'm 100% sure about right now. I know I'm not 100% sure about Mayo Man. But
neither is anyone in Nashville.
Yeah. You got to take a swing, though. I just, we did a study a couple years ago, and we went through draft 2000 through 2019, and we looked at just first-round picks, okay? And we decided it was a good pick if the team that drafted this quarterback or drafted this player got a second contract. Or if they didn't, it was a bust. Well, there were like 56 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Less than half of them got a second contract. Now, sometimes it just takes a longer for the steak to marinate, right?
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield's on his 4th team, and he's found a home.
Yep.
Sam Darnold.
But it did Darnold.
Yep.
It didn't work out with the teams that. At one point, Darnold and Baker were on the same Carolina Panthers team a couple years ago.
That's right.
And Baker was doing scout team reps as a defensive end. So the point is, everyone can say they know. Nobody knows. I guess I would lean towards Shador, but I take the Zen philosopher approach to this, having done the draft for so many years, and Nashville in 2019 was one of the best experiences of all time. I like to just say we'll see. Yeah. I have no idea. And anybody that says they have an idea are the same people that for sure Trevor Lawrence would have been the number 1 overall pick in 2021. I believe he's the only one of the 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round that's still on the team that drafted him. And there are question marks about Trevor Lawrence having regressed massively over the last 2 seasons. So people can say they're sure. They are making it up. Nobody's sure. Nobody.
Can you see the value of the running back going back up a little bit with what Derrick Henry did, Saquon Barkley?
To some extent, yes.
All right.
But I don't think any of these guys are going to get a massive payday.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
The Eagles are thrilled that the Giants were that dumb.
Well, man.
Man. And the Dallas Cowboys are probably kicking themselves because they could have had Derrick Henry instead of Baltimore. I just don't think they're going to get that massive deal because they're still waiting for that injury to Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I think he's missed almost half the games that he's been available for since he signed that first big contract with Carolina. I think he's missed 48% of the games he could have played in. It's still a risk. It's still a risk.
Trey Wingo with us. Speaking of the Nashville draft, having covered the sport forever, how surprised were you when you were in that world that weekend and what Nashville did and how big that was?
It was phenomenal. Like, I had more fun that week than almost anywhere. And the next year, it was supposed to be in Vegas, and we had to do the COVID draft, and that was a different challenge. But Nashville was fantastic. My favorite thing, two quick stories. My favorite thing was all the young ladies that had their bachelorette parties planned for that weekend. And did not understand that the draft sort of takes over the entire town. And the local news reports, I can't get to any of the places I want to go. Well, maybe you should have checked the calendar.
Doggone draft.
Okay? And then the other thing, which is a great story.
By the way, we call them the Woo Girls.
Yes.
Nashville.
Yeah, they were just broken.
They were broken.
Yeah,
they were broken.
The other great story that nobody knows is that the weather was supposed to be terrible for that first night. Thunderstorms, electric. We had a whole plan to abandon the stage at the end of Rock Bottom on Broadway, take the draft picks in school buses to a safe location, get us off that stage, had a substitute set ready to go in one of the restaurants downtown until we could get there and resume the draft if the electrical storms had come through.
Really?
Wow.
And the NFL has a golden horseshoe shoved up its butt because we got sprinkles and that's it. They were expecting thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening, and it never happened.
I didn't even remember that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was on the roof.
It's time to bring it back. We need everything in Nashville. It's time for a Super Bowl.
I don't know if you know this. We think we deserve all of the events.
Nash Vegas would be great for a Super Bowl. Absolutely. I would go there in a heartbeat. 100%.
Trey Wingo, download Renegade Fantasy from the App Store and Google Play today. Thank you, Trey. Always good to see you.
You got it, guys. Always a pleasure.
All right. There you go. Trey Wingo, 3HL. More next, 104.5 The Zone.
All right, the winners just keep on coming in the Zen Sports VIP Players Club sweepstakes. Another Tennessee exclusive grand prize winner has just been picked for the January sweepstakes, and now Zen Sports is keeping up the momentum by introducing its new VIP Players Courtside Club sweepstakes for February. This month, one grand prize winner will win 2 VIP tickets to the men's basketball conference championship game in Nashville, our hometown, plus a $10,000 bonus bet on any tournament game or $10,000 cash alternative. You earn entries on every bet you place in February, every dollar you wager. Plus, you will earn 10 times the entries on all parlay bets. You don't want to miss out on this, and obviously a big event this weekend that you can jump in and place a whole lot of bets. All new customers, if you sign up with my code DAWNTN, DAWNTN, you get 500 bonus entries. Head to zensports.com/sweepstakes. Rules are there, and you can also earn a $100 no danger first wager on your first bet. Zen Sports, betting just got better. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 and older. Located in Tennessee. $5 minimum wager to qualify for entry. Terms and conditions apply. Full contest rules. zensports.com/sweepstakes. No danger first wager. Limited to plus 500 odds to qualify.
All right, fellas. Listen to me. Right now. I got something for you. You got a question? I got an answer. You have been a lack of desire. You got energy, performance issues. All of this can be handled. All you got to do is get to Game Day. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. You got to dive into it. Now, did you know that half of all the men would struggle at some point with erectile dysfunction at some point in their lives? Half, people. But that doesn't have to be your normal. Nope. This is where Game Day Men's Health comes in. Listen, ED issues can be caused by any number of things. Could be testosterone. Could be something else. Bottom line, you don't have to wait. You can go see Game Day. All you got to do is call them or text them, 615-898-9367. This is how easy it is. Grab your phone if you got 10 seconds. go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. At the top of the page, click Book Appointment. Pull up to one of the 2 locations in Green Hills or Hendersonville. Name, phone number, and email address is all you need. That's it. Someone from Game Day will call you to set up your appointment. 15 minutes, your lab results are back. You'll meet with a medical expert, and boom, GameDayMen'sHealth.com has helped you out. 615-898-9367. Call or text to get in touch. Now, if you decide to move forward, you can begin your personalized treatment right away. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
3HL 104.5 The Zone.
Yes.
Davenport's dancing now. Are you still cold?
I'm freezing. That's why I'm bouncing.
104.5 The Zone, broadcasting live from New Orleans. Radio Row.
The Naulia.
Our Radio Row coverage brought to you by Low T Center and Rude, who is proud to partner locally with MJ Frick. For more information or to listen to anything you heard or missed, go to 1045thezone.com. Our thanks to Rap Sheet, Ian Rapoport, coming on. Again, he said this quote, "I'd have a hard time finding a better front office in the league than what the Titans have put together." That happened today. Thomas Dimitroff, went into detail about potential Titans moves and what they can do and all of these things, and he interviewed for the GM job there. So interesting perspective there. Coach Mack, Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network, talked numbers with us. Todd Ferman broke down the Super Bowl in terms of side total and prop bets. Trey Wingo, our thanks to him. Awesome stuff about the number one pick. And we've got Tennessee basketball coming up.
Yes,
Ball
sir.
Network coverage of Tennessee, Missouri coming up at 5:30. Tip-off at 6 o'clock. So what do you think about that matchup? Is Tennessee catching Missouri maybe at a good time coming off a big win like that against Mississippi State?
At some point, when you get a team like that, you maybe get a little high on their horse. Maybe this is an opportunity. You catch them a little bit lacking, but, man, they are really good, and Dennis Gates has their attention. Going to take over for Zakai's back, and Igor's back tonight. That should help.
I love Zakai. When asked about it, kind of was like, there's no way I'm missing that game.
Yeah.
I'm not missing another one.
They're going to need them.
Coming up tomorrow, Marcus Allen, Hall of Famer, Greg Cosell, CJ2K.
Mm-hmm.
How did he develop that friendship with Miss Amy? We're going to ask him. Appreciate you guys listening. We always enjoy the fact that you include us in your day. We do not take that for granted, nor do we take it lightly. Good night. God bless.
See ya.
Wouldn't want to be unless you were in New Orleans losing money.
No lie.
Nolans.